Kazaki hizo miaka zote. Mtu ajui kuandika note. Note tu peke yake. Kusoma kweli itasaidia.
Nini nakusumbua na nini?
Nauliza. You wanna
there. It's all okay.
Mama Angel.
Don't you there?
Haya, kwani nimepita? Nini wewe? Yaani wataka kumpiga. Wewe mpige nini?
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Samahani kaka. Ningeomba tu nijue wewe ni nani katika hii familia.
Kwa nini? Shamsa. Usianze kuniletea hivyo. Mimi nakuuliza mambo ya chakula na mambo ya wanawake.
Mara majini, mara nafuata hotelini, yani sielewi. Nipeleke nyumbani.
Ofisi iko tayari na nilifanya interviews za secretaries. Yani kwa ufupi everything is ready.
Wonderful.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Now, your ministry reaches more people than the evening news, and I need you to get up there and announce that you fully support this bill.
I cannot water down the gospel to advance anybody's political agenda.
He's not on board.
Mr. Luther, do you mind if we get a picture with my daughter?
Big smile. Excellent.
The girl is dead, John. They're saying that you killed her.
I didn't kill anybody.
They're watching for you.
I didn't know where else to go.
You're going to be charged with first-degree murder.
I need your help.
Your husband is a fugitive.
He is coming home to this family.
I have a dream to unite the traditions of faith with one voice. Sometimes in a war, there's collateral damage for the greater good.
Next on.
I just want to be part of your destiny. We hold it tight and not let go.
You are right on time for Big Minds Show.
My name is Megan Musambu, and my interests are singing, modeling, dancing, and dealing with the environment.
You use your talents well and to make the society a better place.
I want to be a model and a doctor.
We're going to read a book titled The Foolish Friend.
I'm going to teach you how to make a soap.
Matches don't come any bigger than the Emirates FA Cup quarter-finals, which will take center stage this weekend. While Manchester United have a mouth-watering trip to the King Power Stadium, where they will face the Leicester City at 8 p.m. Live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. Your true sports partner.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Then my mother will start. Julia! Julia, come here. Look at this one. You have been given 4 bananas and your brother ate 2. How many are you remaining with? Then I would answer 4. She would give me poor coffee a single.
Mr. Tisha, please help me before you take it. Please help me, Mr. Tisha. Where will I get 350,000, Mr. Tisha? Where?
Mama Kinyanjui.
Caroline.
Si tuongee kando kidogo,
I don't play such games. I don't need a man in my life.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Fanya hivi, wewe teremuka tu chini. Hata watu wanangojea, unasema unione. Si ninakuona ndio huyu kucha. Kucha ninakuona.
Yoi.
Nimekuita mara ngapi Kate? This is the Nissan Note.
Hii ndio motoka.
Not that this is the Nissan Note we are giving out.
Na ni rahisi sana kuwekelea bid. Unaenda kwenye lipa na M-Pesa. Unaweka pay bill number 403 2353. Kisha unakelea account number ya Nissan Note ni Note, N-O-T-E. Namba ambayo unapenda, labda unapenda 100, labda unapenda 200, wekelea Note 100, Note 200, alafu tutakuitisha shilingi 40 peke yake, 40 bob only. Weka pin yako, utakuwa umekelea bid ya hii Nissan Note. Inakungoja wewe mahali popote ulipo. Mimi na mtumishi tutakupea.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
He did not respect us.
But what did he say?
Oh, look at that. Bianca didn't waste time. When she became a Piemonte, she started moving. Like mother, like daughter.
Do whatever you want. I can't be with a wolf pretending to be a sheep.
Well, something did happen. Let's just say that I did not expect it.
Bruno, could you come to my office right away?
I think we don't need to speak to each other anymore.
No. I forgot to tell you something else. I'll be waiting.
Good afternoon to you this Friday, the 19th of March 2021, and Machakos County, Oletu Kambani region is about to have the first female senator. This follows an early lead by Wipers Agnes Kavindu, and Kamche Menza is right there in Machakos and will be bringing us up to speed, especially when the officials from the Independent Election and Boundaries Commission announce those official results. My name is Purity Museo. Welcome to this broadcast at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Talk to us on our social media platform. We are also live on Facebook and Twitter. Let's begin the broadcast from Tanzania. And Tanzanian new President Samia Suluhu Hassan has committed to reignite ties with neighboring countries. In a maiden speech shortly after she was sworn in as the 6th Tanzanian president, Suluhu called for unity among Tanzanians, saying it was time to bury differences, forget the past, and move forward as a country. Suluhu has been sworn in as the East African country's first female president after the sudden death of the 5th president, President Pombe Magufuli.
Mimi, Samia Suluhu Hassan,
Friday, 19th March 2021 at around 10 a.m. East African time, Tanzania's soft-spoken Vice President Samia Suluhu was sworn into office as the East African country's first female president.
Nimekula kiapo katika siku ya maombolezo. Kwa ajili hiyo, mtaniwia radhi. Kwa nitaongea kwa uchache na kwa ufupi sana. Niwahakikishie kuwa hakuna jambo litakaloharibika. Ndugu viongozi na ndugu wananchi, kabla sijamaliza, nitumie fursa hii kuwashukuru viongozi wa mihimili yetu.
In her first speech as President, Suluhu vowed not only to unite Tanzanians, but work towards strengthening bilateral relations with other nations of the world.
Huu ni wakati wa kuzika tofauti zetu na kuwa wamoja kama taifa. Ni wakati wa kufarijiana, kuoneshana upendo, udugu wetu, kudumisha amani yetu, kuenzi utu wetu, uzalendo wetu na utanzania wetu.
She said it was not time to throw blames on each other, but urged Tanzanians to forget the past and forge forward.
Si wakati wa kutazama yaliyopita, bali ni wakati wa kutazama yajayo. Si wakati wa kunyosheana vidole, bali ni wakati wa kushikana mikono na kusonga mbele. Ni wakati wa kufutana machozi na kufarijiana ili tuweke nguvu zetu za pamoja kujenga Tanzania mpya ambayo mpendwa wetu Rais Magufuli aliitamani.
Suluhu took the opportunity to pay tribute to the late Magufuli as a visionary leader whose legacy will live on.
Nichukua fursa hii kwa mara nyingine tena kutoa rambirambi zangu za dhati kwa Mama Janet Magufuli, mjane wa hayati Mheshimiwa Rais John Pombe Magufuli, lakini pia Mama Susan Magufuli, mama mzazi wa marehemu Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, watoto na familia, ndugu jamaa na marafiki, kwa kuondokewa na kipenzi chao na mhimili muhimu wa familia. Natambua ukubwa wa ombwe ambalo ameliacha katika familia.
Suluhu was sworn in courtesy of the Constitution of Tanzania, which states that the Vice President serves out the remainder of the term of a president who dies in office. Magufuli, who died aged 81. Magufuli died aged 61 and was first elected alongside Suluhu in 2015 and secured a second 5-year term in polls in October last year. The late Tanzanian President John Pombe Magufuli will be laid to rest on Thursday next week at his native home of Chato, northwest of Tanzania. The newly sworn-in President Samia Suluhu Hassan announced the burial plans, saying the public will get the opportunity to pay their last respect to the late Magufuli from Saturday.
Burial preparations for the late John Pombe Magufuli are underway. The newly sworn-in President Samia Suluhu Hassan Friday announced the burial plans for the late Magufuli. On Saturday, Magufuli's body, which is lying at a military hospital, will be taken to church for a requiem mass before being moved to Uhuru Stadium in Dar es Salaam, where leaders and residents of the area will pay tribute.
Na siku ya Jumamosi, mwili wa hayati Dr. John Pombe Magufuli utatolewa hospitali ya jeshi Lugalo na kupelekwa katika kanisa la St. Peter pale Oysterbay kwa ibada, na baadaye kupelekwa uwanja wa Uhuru kwa kuagwa na viongozi.
The body will then be taken to the country's capital, Dodoma, on March 21st, which will be a public holiday in Tanzania and will lie in state until the following day, when the late president's body will be moved to Mwanza. Family members and residents of Chato will pay their last respect on Wednesday next week, ahead of the funeral service on Thursday, March 25th, at the Catholic Church in Chato.
Tarehe 23, mwili wa hayati Dr. John Pombe Magufuli utaagwa pale Mwanza na baadaye kusafirishwa kuelekea Chato. Tarehe 24 ni siku ambayo wanafamilia na wananchi wa Chato na maeneo jirani wataaga mwili wa hayati Dr. John Pombe Magufuli.
And Wiper Party is currently celebrating the projected win of its candidate Agnes Kavindu at the senatorial by-election in Machakos County. And of course, Kamche Menza is in Machakos County, and she'll be telling us, especially informing us, when IEBC officially announces winner for this race. But Kavindu is leading at a distance with over 100,000 votes, and followed at a distance by the competitor, who is the UDA's candidate, with around 19,000 votes. Maybe we can just have a look at what's going on in Machakos. Just the live pictures from Machakos County, and maybe members of the Wiper Party, and of course in Machakos, and also supporters of Agnes Kavindu, trying to just celebrating this projected win and awaiting the official announcement of the winner by officials from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And of course, that by-election comes at a time when the seat fell vacant following the death of Senator Kabaka. And if declared winner, Agnes Kavindu is going to be the first senator in the Ukambani region. Ukambani region already has a first governor, Charity Ngilu of Kitui County. Kamche Menza will be telling us, especially when the official announcement is made and when the certificate is finally awarded to Agnes Kavindu. And of course, we are keenly following up on what's going on in Machakos County. And as you can see, the celebration mood already at that particular venue where they are waiting for the official announcement of the results. But as I earlier said, Kavindu is leading with over 100,000 votes against the competitor, who is Ngengele, who is from the UDA candidate, with about 19,000 votes. Okay, let's move on now. The government, in collaboration with Nairobi Metropolitan Services, intends to improve the services at 56 level 4 hospitals in Nairobi County. Speaking on Thursday after touring Lang'ata Health Center, Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe said the move will help in decongesting Kenyatta National Hospital, which is overwhelmed by patients.
Now wants to free Kenyatta National Hospital that has been overstretched beyond limits. To achieve the move, the Ministry of Health has teamed up with Nairobi Metropolitan Services to equip 56 level 4 hospitals to better offer services.
Because everybody is going to Kenyatta National Hospital is overwhelmed. So that the quality of healthcare in Kenya, represented by the healthcare in Nairobi, then seems very bad in the country. But the only reason why it is bad is because everybody is going to the same hospital rather than spread out.
Speaking after launching the 24 hours operation of Lang'ata Health Facility in Nairobi County, Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe said 47% of patients walk to Kenyatta National Hospital to seek treatment for diseases that can be managed in local facilities.
On the 1st of July, Kenyatta National Hospital will no longer accept walk-in business. We will no longer accept walk-in patients. Everybody will walk into these other 56 hospitals, and they are the ones who will refer a patient to either Kenyatta National Hospital, Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital, and other referral hospitals that we are going to designate around the city.
Nairobi Metropolitan Services Director General Mohammed Badi says the adoption of the new policy will go a long way in changing the health management in Nairobi County.
So we will do it in a manner that will not break the Ministry of Health guidelines of having more than 100 people. So next week we'll announce to you which hospitals will be commissioned, and it will be done in a quiet manner in order to stick to Ministry of Health guidelines, and we'll keep on informing you the next set of 4 hospitals that will be ready. So next week we are ready with 4 hospitals, and we'll inform you when we are going to open them.
He says 1,620 staff have already been employed to kickstart the program, with clinicians, nurses and doctors set to be employed to enable the 24 hours operation in the 56 level 4 hospital.
We are going to employ more nurses. We are going to employ more doctors to cater for the other 24, for that extra time that the hospitals are going to be opened.
Among the facilities which are coming up is the big Korogocho Nyayo Mathare Hospital, which has been which had stored since 1989. Within the next few months, maybe 2 or so months, this will come up as a level 5 facility. It's a very big facility.
Timothy Kipnusu for Channel 1 News.
In other news, as candidates across the country prepare for the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education and Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, schools for children with special needs in the Western region have received personal protective equipment to guard against COVID-19 infections from well-wishers. The KCPE and KCSE candidates received face masks and hand sanitizers or washing gadgets, among other personal effects, to support them during the examination period. With
With the third wave of COVID-19 now in the country, well-wishers among them environmentalists through support from Bunny School in the United Kingdom have donated a variety of personal use items to special needs schools in Western region.
Service to man is actually service to God. It was not their liking they be created so, but since they are, we are here to support them and also show them that they are part of us.
Some of the institutions benefiting from the program include St. Anthony's Special School for Deaf in Webuye, Nalondo Special National Secondary School for Physically Handicapped, and Nalondo Special Primary School for the Physically Handicapped in Bungoma and Trans Nzoia County. The support is also to boost government efforts in fighting against the spread of coronavirus and also care for the vulnerable in society.
Coming here first, they never had masks. We had to look for ways getting masks, which is not very easy because of the funding from the government.
Support coordinator Morris Wanjala said they chose to support the children living with disability to ensure inclusion and also ensure they are comfortable during the exams period.
We try to manage them, try to talk to them, understand about the spacing and also washing. And they try to follow the rules. They know they follow the rules. The challenge is maybe getting the soap, the sanitizers is maybe the challenge, and also the mask, which has been a big relief from our friends.
Elsewhere, candidates sitting for their Kenya Certificate of Primary Education in 2 public schools within Mwingi Town are now more than ready to sit for the exams after a well-wisher donated stationery to ease their work. Dorcas Mbeke, an alumni of Kasina Primary, supplied all pupils in Mwingi Primary and Kasina Primary with modern geometrical sets ahead of national examinations next week.
I wanted to encourage them that there's always a bright future ahead if they plan and focus on their dreams.
We want to appreciate the guests for the free gift they have given us, and we want to pray to God so that they continue facilitating these goods to other schools or other people.
Rehearsals were conducted today with candidates expected to write the exams from Monday to Wednesday next week. Ruth Wamboy for Channel 1 News.
Let's now take our first commercial break right here on Lunchtime News this Friday afternoon. Do stay with us, we still have plenty more to come.
Fanya hivi, weteremuka tu chini. Hata watu wanangojea, unasema unione, si ninakuona ndio huyu kucha. Kucha ninakuona. Nimekuita mara ngapi Kate? This is the Nissan Note.
Hii ndio motoka.
Not that this is the Nissan Note we are giving out.
Na ni rahisi sana kuwekelea bid. Unaenda kwenye lipa na M-Pesa. Unaweka paybill number 4032353. Kisha unakelea account number ya Nissan Note ni Note, N-O-T-E. Namba ambayo unapenda, labda unapenda 100, labda unapenda 200. Wekelea Note 100, Note 200. Alafu tutakuitisha shilingi 40 peke yake, 40 bob only. Weka pin yako, utakuwa umekelea bid ya hii Nissan Note. Inakungoja wewe mahali popote ulipo. Mimi na mtumishi tutakupea.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
You have come to me for help, so you will have to do exactly what I say.
This accident might not have happened had Ashok not accepted Sushim's challenge in his arrogance, Dharma.
How did you come here? Who allowed you to come here? Your son killed my son.
I can't forgive Ashok. For what he has done, there is only one punishment. Death sentence.
The arrow which hit Drupad was tipped with poison. Yes, Ashok. I have seen it.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
I am making my own creations to help me capture the Smurfs. Hello! I call them...
Hello, Kitty.
The Naughties.
Yeah!
Deeply disappointing experiments.
Give me the Smurfette now!
A la carte.
I could never be tricked into being one of them. Here comes trouble! Oh no!
The Smurfs.
Two.
Sauti ya Kenya.
92.9. Hii ni KBC Radio Taifa.
Kila kitu maishani kina sauti yaleta furaha.
Radio.
Sauti ya elimisha, yahimiza, yatuleta pamoja. Sauti ya Kenya.
Radio Taifa.
Sauti ya Kenya.
Many thanks for staying with us. You're watching Lunchtime News. Lucy Mwaura is our sign language interpreter. Border operators and youth from Teso South Constituency are up in arms over delays in the disbursement of 1 million shillings meant for empowerment donated by Deputy President William Ruto, led by their chairperson David Idewa. The operators are accusing former area MP Mary Emase and Chamu Sacco chairperson Martin Mukanda for allegedly locking them out.
A group of border operators from Teso South Constituency are at loggerheads with their former area MP Mary Emase and Chamu Sacco chairperson Martin Mukanda over money donated to empower them by Deputy President William Ruto.
Tunafata haki yetu ambaye Deputy President alituletea bodaboda wa Teso South kama empowerment. Tuko na mheshimiwa Mary Emase ndiye alipewa hiyo pesa na amekalia pesa yetu shilingi milioni 1. Na sisi kama bodaboda tumekubaliana ya kwamba hiyo pesa itoke na tupeane kwa group zetu waende wafanye table banking na zile miradi zingine.
Nasema pesa hiyo kesho isipofika tutaenda paka kotini.
But the SACCO's chairperson Martin Mukanda has refuted the claims, saying no money has been squandered and that the amount will be used to purchase a bus for the SACCO, a decision that doesn't sit well with the angry youth who want their share of the money.
Nilipewa pesa na mheshimiwa Mary Emase tarehe 15 nikeko bank. Wakati hizo pesa ziliingia kwa Chamu Sacco, hazikuwa zilikageuka kulingana na sheria ya vyama vya ushirika. Sasa hiyo pesa si ya William Ruto, si ya Mary Emase, pesa ni ya SACCO.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Nisi Imano Okoth.
Moving on, Mandera Finance CEC Ibrahim Barrow has died of COVID-19. Mandera Deputy Governor Mohamed Arai made the announcement on Friday, urging residents to follow the prevention guidelines set out by the Ministry of Health of wearing face masks, maintaining social distance, and regularly washing their hands.
The late Mandera Finance CEC Ibrahim Barrow had been in the County Referral Hospital in the Isolation Center and was airlifted to a Nairobi hospital where he succumbed to COVID-19 on Friday at 2 a.m. Mandera Deputy Governor Mohamed Arai has called on residents to take personal responsibility in fighting the deadly disease.
Early this morning, we lost our brother Ibrahim Barrow Hassan to COVID-19. Ibrahim has been the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Economic Planning, and ICT for the last 8.5 years in Mandera County. Death is an inevitable journey that we will all travel at some point in life. May the Almighty Allah forgive his sins and grant him Jannatul Firdaus.
The third wave of the infections has created fear in the region, especially due to the porous border with Somalia and Ethiopia.
COVID-19 is real. Please help us manage it by taking committed personal responsibility as advised by the Ministry of Health.
The late Barrow has served as Finance CEC for the last 8.5 years. For Chan 1 News, I'm Nisi Imano Okoth.
May his soul rest in peace. At least let's do what we are being advised to do. Wash your hands, don't touch your face, and socially distance where you can, and put on the face mask, not below your chin but above your nose. And let's stay safe. Kenya is experiencing a third wave of COVID-19, and we can at least do that to see if we are going to flatten the curve once again. Elsewhere, Kenya has formally written to the International Court of Justice to inform of its decision not to participate at the maritime delimitation case with Somalia, which is currently ongoing at the ICJ based at The Hague through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Kenya insists that the decision is on account of procedural unfairness at the court. Kenya says the decision was made in the best interest to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the country.
In a letter to Felipe Gatia, the registrar at the ICJ, Kenya said, while it had no doubt about the merits of its case, procedural unfairness had left doubt on whether substantive justice will be done. Kenya restated that it should not have been dragged to the court by Somalia merely because of its neighbors' resurgent expansionist agenda. Kenya also noted that the composition of the membership of the bench conducting the case reinforced concerns of bias, citing the case of Somali citizen Judge Abdul Kawi Yusuf, who sits on the ICJ and who has previously represented Somalia at the Third United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. Kenya has also informed the court that influential third-party commercial interests are fueling the case that threatens to destabilize the peace and security of an already fragile region. Kenya insisting its preference for negotiation through the African Union Border Program, which encourages states to resolve disputes through bilateral negotiations. In the letter, Kenya revealing that it has provided the court with a comprehensive background to Kenya-Somalia's relations, underscoring Kenya's long-held commitment to peaceful and friendly relations despite Somalia's intransigence and territorial ambitions against Kenya. Kenya claiming that any consideration of this equidistance claim sets a dangerous precedent, as it will not only reward Somalia's belligerent conduct but also has the potential of disturbing already established boundaries. Underscoring its decision not to participate in the hearings, Kenya remained steadfast that this dispute should be withdrawn from the court and resolved through bilateral negotiations. Kenya also expects Somalia to normalize its relations with Kenya following their unprovoked and unjustified decision to sever diplomatic relations with its neighbor. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
And back to the education affairs, candidates sitting in the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education are raring to go ahead. Following rehearsals held this morning, a spot check by KBC Channel 1 at City Primary School in Nairobi revealed the high level of preparedness, including measures put in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Pupils interviewed exuded confidence ahead of the 3-day examinations next week.
I can say that I'm fully prepared for these KCPE exams. The time that has been extended has been able to make us to get more revision, and the teachers have been able to help us.
We are keeping the distance and we are washing our hands regularly. Okay.
Fanya fanya hivi, wewe teremuka tu chini. Hata watu wanangojea, unasema unione, si ninakuona ndio huyu kucha. Kucha ninakuona. Nimekuita mara ngapi Kate? This is the Nissan Note.
Hii ndio motoka.
Not that this is the Nissan Note we are giving out.
Na ni rahisi sana kuwekelea bid. Unaenda kwenye lipa na M-Pesa. Unaweka paybill number 4032353. Kisha unakelea account number ya Nissan Note ni Note, N-O-T-E. Namba ambayo unapenda, labda unapenda 100, labda unapenda 200. Wekelea Note 100, Note 200. Alafu tutakuitisha shilingi 40 peke yake, 40 bob only. Weka pin yako, utakuwa umekelea bid ya hii Nissan Note. Inakungoja wewe mahali popote ulipo. Mimi na mtumishi tutakupea.
Ili kupata skiza tune hii ya Isaiah 48 kwa simu yako bonyeza *811 817 hash.
Wakati mwingine unaweza kujipata umefinywa pande zote na unaona kama shida yako ni kubwa sana, kama hakuna nguvu ambazo zaweza kuitatua. Lakini ni vyema kujua kwamba kuna Mungu mwenye nguvu na ambaye hachoki kamwe. Isaiah mlango wa 40 mstari wa 8 inasema, "Je, wewe hukujua? Hukusikia? Yeye Mungu wa milele, Bwana, muumba miisho ya dunia, hazimii wala hachoki. Akili zake hazichunguziki."
Ili kupata skiza tune hii bonyeza *811 817 hash. *811 817 hash.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Domo jibaba lizima na chekechea.
Bana, nalima somo.
Pia mambo ya kutegemea watu mimi nitakuja yaacha kabisa.
Kutegemea watu kivipi? Sasa hicho ni jeuri ama nkejeli?
Tutayaona matokeo yake.
Basi cheka sana mchana, usiku ulale.
Usiku na kesha nikicheka.
Mr. Nzomo, tell me more about yourself.
Mombasani, madam.
Is there anything wrong with Mombasani?
Thank you so much for staying with us. In business news, Faulu Bank is targeting to lend small and medium enterprises 300 million shillings in the next 1 year. The bank targets SMEs in the agricultural sector value chain in Kiambu County, which largely remains unbanked.
Faulu Bank has set aside 3 billion shillings kitty lend SMEs in high economic potential sectors. Part of the funds will be channeled towards lending players in the agriculture value chain in Kiambu County. The bank has set aside to help small and medium enterprises across key sectors like agriculture, trade, retail, construction and transports recover from economic challenges related to COVID-19. The bank's CEO, Apollo Njoroge, says the lender is targeting 1,000 borrowers investing in poultry, dairy, horticulture and other agricultural value chain activities, including input supply.
Huge pool of SME funds that we've put aside. We have 500 million shillings, and these SME loans are here to really empower the SME customers, the young people who want to start businesses. We like the vibrant businesses we see here, and we need to give these businesses working capital.
Elsewhere, the private sector has been urged to increase investment in the country's education system to fund the sector to promote innovations through quality education. Speaking during the second awards of the BIC Education Challenge, BIC's East Africa General Manager Michael Sinclair said there is need to foster public-private partnerships to spur innovations in schools and create a skilled labor force that can compete globally.
We'll be mentoring them from a financial acumen point of view. We'll also be looking to invest and give them additional presentation skills where we can enhance their project to a point where they will be able to present on the global stage a lot more effectively. We recognize the talent that Kenya has, and we recognize the talent that the students in specifically these projects actually have exhibited. with that talent, we just want to give them guidance, give them mentorship, and be able to allow them to present their projects as best as possible.
And finally, Kenya Railways says it plans to rehabilitate the Kisumu-Malaba railway line as part of its expansion strategy. The Kenya Railways General Business Manager Miliomido says the move seeks to open up the western region to more investment opportunities.
Another train from Nairobi to Malaba. We already have a train from Nairobi to Nanyuki, which is exemplary, especially for those holiday people who are holiday makers.
Since embarking on its digital transformation journey to ensure maximum digital economy benefits and technologies, Kenya Railways has consistently made steps to revitalize the old meter gauge railway and the Nairobi commuter, among other developments.
Seen as bringing in the diesel multiple units, which represents a modern way of transporting the Nairobi commuter.
We launched the free Wi-Fi service at the Nairobi Central Station, which is currently again going through some new phases of development, and that is in partnership with Huawei as well.
For Channel 1 Business, I'm Wangari Washuru.
Fuel price increases that took effect on Monday saw petrol retailing at levels last seen in November 2011. The cascading effects of the fuel price increases include pricing pressure on electricity as well as manufactured goods. Betty Kiptum spoke to Maurice Odwor, an economist, on the increasing cost of living for Kenyans. Take a look.
We'd like to discuss an issue that touches on your pockets, that is the cost of living, the fuel price increment that happened recently, causing quite an uproar, and what this means for your pockets in the near future. I am joined by Maurice Odwor. He is a senior manager at Genghis Capital to just give us a perspective on this. Thank you for joining us, Maurice.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure having you here. Now, the fuel prices that were increased recently, could you just put that into perspective for us?
If you look at the revision of the fuel prices that was to take effect from 15th of March, especially petrol was increased to by about 7 shillings to almost 122.6 shillings. You look at diesel coming to about 107, and if you look at go now to in the actual pricing and try now to look at the component, we come to see that taxations and levies accounts for almost 57% in terms of the petrol pricing, and you come to diesel is almost 45%, which again now brings up the question, as Kenyans, are we overtaxed?
49 shillings there about the landing cost of a litre of petrol. By the time it gets to, say, the Nairobian, it's around 122 shillings. As you said, the biggest chunk is taxes and levies. Is there any way this can be maybe reduced? What is the way that this can be reduced for Kenyans to just stop this suffering?
In fact, if you compare Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, fuel in Uganda is even cheaper than in Nairobi. And you look at the position of Uganda and Nairobi, it's fact supposed to be cheaper in Nairobi, which now brings into question what happened in Kenya that is not in Uganda. It's bringing now the issue of taxation. Remember 2013, around 2016-17 there when they introduced the VAT on fuel, which I think is causing now this significant increase that's again now affecting the price differential when you compare the fuel price in Kenya and also in other neighboring countries. So it goes back to the public financial management framework in terms of how do we deal with taxation, because we are getting to a level where you can't continue taxing people who are not even getting increment in terms of income.
For Kenyans who are looking at these fuel prices, of course there is the actual fuel price and what it means for the goods that they'll be purchasing moving forward. How is that going to impact the manufacturing as well as transport?
When you look at cost of power, which now goes to now cost of electricity, the moment you affect the cost of fuel, you're automatically affecting the cost of electricity, which again affects the cost of production. And cost of production, the easiest way manufacturer will have to pass it to the consumer. And the thing that you mentioned in terms of accommodative measure that were put in place by the government during the COVID time, beginning 1st of January, KRA, they went back to 30%. Yes. If you look at Safaricom, the M-Pesa transaction, they went back to charging. Initially, they were putting minimum at 1,000 shillings was free. So if you look at what Kenyans went through, especially the year 2020, most of employers, they reduced salaries. And I'm sure most of them have not reinstated or are not even thinking of reinstating. Then number two, the relief that I had for the 5% in terms of taxation, let's say a higher band of 30%. Government has come back, they have taken back that 5%. So I'm already I'm going to pay 30%. If you look at that 30% again, fuel now is taking almost 7 shillings increment per litre for petrol. So if you look at that, what we are looking at in terms of income is done, because KRA is taking 30%. If you're earning 100 shillings, you're remaining with 70. Now on this 70, you're supposed to fix all your health matters, buying fuel, rent, everything to fit in within that 70% that you are remaining with, which I don't think is sustainable.
There is a balance between the government seeking revenue, tax revenue, and also ensuring that Kenyans have a way to survive. Can this balance be met considering that the pandemic hit Kenyans' pockets? The pandemic also hit the government's pockets. There was quite some missed targets from KRA last year, which has been happening for quite a while, but last year was specifically special. Is there a way that this balance can be reached?
In fact, the government has no pocket. Government operates with our pockets, as in they take money from us. So the moment you are affected, automatically they'll have to miss what they were expecting to collect. Look at how private corporates were approached COVID. They took measures, some of them even stopped remitting pension contribution. They reduced employees' rate. Nothing like that happened in government. Or if it happened, I'm sure it was just somewhere there, but it was never implemented. If you look at the breakdown between recurrent expenditure and development expenditure for the government, recurrent expenditure is still a significant portion of the budgeting, the budget. So that brings into question how the government is operating. Is it sustainable? It's not, because we are not putting more money to development expenditure that will ensure that we have infrastructural development, things that can actually create value in the economy, create jobs for people to be able to also to be able to pay taxes to fund government operations. So it goes back to public financial management framework for the government. We need to look at in terms of whether are we operating where we are supposed to. If not, then what do we need to do? A number of changes need to be put in place to reduce the government expenditure.
And do you think that the debt levels in the country are putting pressure on the government to continue collecting more from Kenyans, such as the fuel taxes that we've seen?
I think debt level at such a level we are now, it's already beyond where it's supposed to be. But if you look at the issue, is not debt. Whatever is putting pressure on the government is actually where the funds that were raised through issuance of debt instrument, where they were located. The value is not coming from there, because we're supposed to compute what is called economic rate of return to determine where the projects they are running with these funds, will they create value that will enable Kenyans to get jobs, pay taxes, to enable government to be able to pay to service back this debt. It's not working. Yeah, so the issue is not debt as such. The issue is the deployment of these funds raised from debt. Where they were deployed, there's no value.
So is there anything that can be done to salvage that situation?
If you look at the way a private company would do, a private company would go into a restructuring process, which the government need to go into a restructuring process, redefine the governance structure, come up with the lean and the most efficient structure they're supposed to employ. But if you look at what the restructuring discussion that's already ongoing, which I think is for a political setup, is like now the BBI is not addressing all this. Fact is making it worse.
So what do you foresee for Kenyans in the near future? Because many are, of course, complaining that they're feeling the brunt of all this taxation, and they're already suffering as is. What is the future really?
The way forward for Kenyans is we need to be serious enough. When we are given a blank check to write our future, we know whether you can be given a blank check, write whichever amount you want. Kenyans write cents. When you're given a blank check, write 20 cents. When you cash it, you'll get 20 cents. When you write 10,000, when you cash, you'll get 10,000. Whenever we go to an electioneering process, now we're supposed to define the destiny for our country, we start engaging issues that don't matter. So to some extent, we are to blame for what we are going through. And again, it's us that will deliver the country from there. So we need to be serious. When we are given that blank check, we write the amount that we want. If you write 20 cents, you'll be given 20 cents. Or you'll even be given zero. Because you can write 20 cents from a experience from a person who is not able to pay you. you'll get zero. So whenever we are given that blank check, we need to be serious.
So the government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna, when he was speaking yesterday or on Tuesday, that is, during the State of the Nation address, he said that Kenyans should not really be complaining about these taxes and they should find a way to support the government. Do you think this is right from the government?
I watched him, but I think he was wrong just from the way he started, because we were not complaining, we are demanding for services. Then he was saying government don't do business. We're not asking for profit from government. We're asking for at least bare minimum because we are funding them. So not that Kenyans are complaining, because we are paying taxes. We need to demand for services. And that's the reason why we are questioning. He drew a comparison between taxation in Kenya and taxation in Western countries. He's right, they pay a lot and they receive a lot from the government. That's why they don't complain. As we pay a lot and we receive almost nothing. That's why we are complaining. What he's referring to as we are crying, but we are just demanding for services.
Corruption and swindling of public funds has often impacted what you give. You don't get anything for it. It just goes into people's pockets. What can the government do at this point?
Before I go to the government, I think Kenyans need to be serious, because we choose people that we are going to entrust the management of Kenyan economy with. If we are serious at that point in time, it means we'll hold the leaders accountable. It's only in Kenya that you can't even hear of people recalling an MP or such, because it can't happen. Because first of all, people they don't have the courage to do it. Then number two, people accept to be paid using, you just give a few tokens, then you kill the idea that you had. That's number one. Then number two, whoever will be in charge of the management is going to also need to be serious. The same way you hear private companies paying dividend, the president need to be able to come to us on, is it still called Jamhuri Day on the 12th of December, and tell us what he has exactly achieved in terms of how many jobs were created and how did this impact the economy in terms of taxation that were paid to the government. But at least we move knowing that we are headed the right direction. And also, if it can't happen, Kenyans need to be, we can censure all these leaders and be able to call them and choose, elect people who can properly manage the economy of Kenya.
Last year, when CS Ukur Yatani was speaking, even during the budget reading, he said it's going to be focused on the economic recovery. How is this now going to impact the economic recovery?
If you look at, you can't talk of economic recovery, yet every year you are missing tax targets. And this the target where you expect to collect taxes from are the people who already been overtaxed. These people, the amount of income they are getting will not enable you to be able to collect sufficient taxes to be able to fund the operation. So the focus needs to be on job creation. When you create jobs, these people will get salary, they'll pay taxes, they will fund government operations. When you create conducive environment, you will even attract foreign investors to come and set up operations in the country to create jobs. But when the cost of electricity is high, corruption is there, not even sure how long it will take for me to open a company. Who will come to Kenya? No one. So we need to be focused on job creation, and also we need to operate in a lean and efficient structure in terms of government operation, and we need to improve on the conducive environment for doing business to attract foreign companies to come and set up operation in Kenya.
As we come to a close, speak towards the economic health of this country.
The issue of debt still comes back, because it has gone to a level where it's now unsustainable. And also, remember, Kenya, recently it was downgraded. I think it was S&P. So which now means if Kenya is to go back to the global markets to fundraise, they will have to pay high. And also, we have the Euro bonds that also now exposes Kenya to another level in terms of scrutiny and also in terms of expectation that investors want to get from the country. So what we need to do economically, we need to continue monitoring the debt levels so that at least we operate in a manner that is sustainable. And also the amount that we raise from debt need to go to projects that at least the economic rate of return outweighs the cost of this debt for it to be able to create value. There are other long-term projects that we may be able to, and the returns will come along the way, but assessment need to be done that these things at least impact on the economy. And the next thing that will improve the economic health of the country is the ease of doing business index, which goes to the cost of electricity, the taxation, the corruption, all those things that now, when I want to come and do business in Kenya, I will even feel happy that I'm going to set up operation in Kenya. But I'm sure foreign investors thinking to set up operation in Kenya, we just think that now it's Nairobi. How much am I going to pay in terms of, as in just bribing people? How much is the cost of electricity? So it makes even working, coming to operate in Kenya difficult. That's the reason why Rwanda has always been ahead of Kenya, because the setup and the environment is more conducive compared to Kenya. So all of those things are what will contribute to the improvement in terms of the health status of the country. But that we need to, is already in the red, need to monitor it closely.
Focusing on Kenyan citizens as shareholders and managing Kenya in a better way. That is the message here by Maurice Odwol. He is a senior manager at Genghis Capital, and we have been talking about the health of the economy, to be specific really the cost of living and how it has gone up from heightened fuel prices to that electricity charge going higher, and what it means for the goods that you shall be purchasing rather. Thank you very much for watching this particular interview. My name is Betty Kiptum.
Betty Kiptum right there. She has been speaking with Maurice Odwol, an economist, on the impact the increased fuel prices may have on other sectors. Thank you, Betty, for that insightful interview. In other news, Kenya's bid to build hundreds of new hostels for university students with the support of the private sector has slowed down due to falling investor interest. A private firm is set to build 5 billion shillings housing project targeting students in efforts to meet the demand.
Kenya spends over 10% of its GDP on education. Student accommodation shortage accounts for 40% of the country's housing shortage, as students are forced to stay far from school.
Students are going and living all the way up to Rongai, and some even all the way down to Langata, and really struggling to get to campus.
Now, a private farm, Student Factory Africa, in partnership with Dutch EPC, seeks to build the gap. The farm plans to build student housing in Kenya worth 5 billion shillings under a time frame of 20 months. The 4,500 bedding capacity project in Karen will be built in phases, with the first phase consisting of 1,500 beds.
We feel by providing these amenities and these areas for the kids to be active and really doing exemplary things and reduce that boredom factor, we feel it'll create a more holistic environment.
The project aims at providing holistic housing for students in a move to ease the shortage. The project will be rolled out by EPC, as they plan also to educate local constructors on quality building, efficiency and timekeeping.
And the way we want to cooperate that is by also training the local people to get their standard even higher. So we're not looking only as for us to benefit, but also that the local people also benefit.
Terry Njenga, Channel 1 Business.
Dairy farmers in West Pokot County are set to have a market for their milk close home. Construction of a multi-million milk processing plant at KBC Beach in Pokot South is going to enable farmers sell their produce to the plant. The county government has been investing heavily in dairy farming and improvement of breeds, like distribution of pedigree bulls for higher yields.
Pokot has the capacity to produce over 50,000 litres per day, with local government empowering farmers to realize the production goes high and meet the target of the plant capacity. The new plant will enable farmers to fetch competitive prices for their milk that is often bought at a lower price than market prices by middlemen.
Hii inauzwa rejareja hapa, lakini sisi tunaweka standard price, tunaweka because tuko na sababu ya kuweka kama serikali hii kiwanda. Tunataka kununua kwa bei ya heshima ambayo raia watapata faida na waplau back to the animals.
Bei ya sasa maziwa inauzwa shilingi 32 shillings kwa lita, na wakiuzio ile factories kwa mfano Brookside
huwa inalipa wale wengine 46.
The county has partnered with an Israeli firm to deliver the merchandise machinery to the plant.
In the sports arena, Tottenham was sent crashing out of the Europa League by Dinamo Zagreb, losing 3-0 after Misli 6 stunning hat-trick wiped out Spurs' 2-0 lead from the first leg. Elsewhere, despite a 1-0 loss to Olympiacos last night, Arsenal proceeded to the quarterfinals on a 3-2 aggregate.
Tottenham were knocked out of the Europa League by Dinamo Zagreb, losing 3-0 in Croatia and 3-2 on aggregate. Another poor performance follows a bruising 2-1 defeat against Arsenal on Sunday. Jose Mourinho says it's more than sad and apologizes to the Tottenham fans. In other news, Arsenal were given a scare by Olympiacos but had enough from the first leg to beat the Greek side on 3-2 aggregate win to reach the Europa last 8. Meanwhile, Paul Pogba scored the winner on his return from injury as Manchester United beat AC Milan 1-0 last night to join Arsenal in the Europa League quarterfinals. In other matches, Ajax made their passage into the next round as David Neres' goal and Dusan Tadic's penalty rounded off 5-0 aggregate win over Young Boys. Steven Gerrard's Rangers finished with 9 men in a 2-0 home loss to Slavia Prague as the Czech side won 3-1 on aggregate.
And that's the latest at this hour. Thanks to William Mwamburi, who is tuned in from Watamu. Many thanks for your company. And at Mwakithi Mauta, you also tuned in to Lunchtime News. Stanley, you're also watching, and Chris Kitiku tuned in. Thank you so much. Kitiku, you tuned in from Machakos County. It's always a great pleasure having your company. My name is Purity Museo. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter this afternoon. I'll see you again at 9, God willing. Stay safe and God bless. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Vera Beauty College. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 2274